Today on episode 21 of The Lockdown, we are here with former NRL and New South Wales Blues Origin star Trent Hodkinson. How are you, mate? All right?
Good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, excellent. What have you been up to? We had a little chat just before the mic turned on, but what have you been up to in this coronavirus fucking state? What have you been up to?
Yeah, not too much. Pretty much the same as everyone else, trying to bunker down and stay clear of it. Positive to come out of it. We've had our first little one, so I had a baby boy a couple of weeks ago. So it's probably good timing, to be honest. We've just been laying low and getting through that. The hospital was very quiet, so that was a bonus. But yeah, just been laying low, mate.
It's your first kid, mate. We'll talk about this as well. Sleepless nights and nappies. Have you experienced those problems yet?
Yeah. The first couple of nights were tough. Slowly getting into a routine, but so far so good. Fingers crossed. But yeah, it's all going all right at the moment. Benders are a little different these days. The baby benders are a bit different to the old ones, but yeah, it's good.
Mate, there's one thing you must watch out for. It's called the explosion. All right. Now your kid doesn't eat enough yet. Wait till they start eating properly. At about 9 months, they'll eat whatever comes in front of them.
Yeah.
And that's the fucked up shit. All right. So I remember my one. I was changing my little one, my firstborn.
Yeah.
And as I'm changing the nappy, shit just started spurting out like a fucking like a tap, man, like a fountain. It was just, and I didn't know what to fucking do, so I'm trying to stop it, and just get ready. It's gonna be, and boys are apparently worse than girls, mate. So
yeah, so I've heard. So I've already been peed on a couple of times, so I'm waiting for the other side of it to come.
Well, mate, we discussed this as well before. Post football, you're not working. You're looking at maybe coaching. Is that true?
Yeah. I had a bit of time off after the footy, and then sort of the new year rolled around, and had a couple of gigs lined up with the New South Wales Pathways, 16s, 18s, junior kids coming through, and was looking to get into a bit of goal kicking coaching as well on the side. So with footy obviously having the break as everything else is, sort of fell through at the time. And yeah, I mean, it's good timing as well. I'm home with the little one. I was around for the missus and to help her out when I could. So I'll be looking to get back into that once footy rolls around and get that back on board, get it sorted.
Do you think being a half kind of gives you a bit more of a kickstart in being a coach, considering that you always have to know all the plays, you read the field better than everyone else? It seems that the halves are always fucking killers at coaching. Do you reckon it gives you a bit of a head start?
I think it gives you an advantage for sure. As you said, being a half, you got to know a lot of things. Game plans and every other player. You're pretty much the coach out there on the field. So, the coach implements a game plan, and it's pretty much rubs on the half's shoulders and as well as everybody else. But you win the games, the halves get the praise. You lose them, the halves get hammered. So. It does give you an advantage, and it's something that I'm interested in doing.
Mate, you've only recently retired. Let's say you were still playing and your body was still beaten up, right? So we'll go into this about how your body really deteriorated near the end of your career.
Yeah.
Imagine you were still, let's say, 2017 Knights or 2018, and Peter V'landys come out and said, May 28, we're returning, and you had 4 weeks to get ready. What would you personally think about that? Like, mate, it's having basically a 4-week preseason. Do you think it's safe?
Yeah. It was very interesting when they come out and said the date. To be honest with you, I didn't think it was going to happen, but look, they've worked extremely hard and they've got it back on track now. And I mean, as a fan now of the game, I'm watching rugby league. I'm keen to see back, but let's hope that no cases arise and they tick all the boxes and they go from there. As a player's point of view, I know obviously still got a lot of friends in the game and I know they're itching to get back. They spend that whole pre-season over summer to get fit for only to play 2 games. So I know from a player's perspective, they're keen. From a fan's perspective, they want to see footy. I just hope it's all positive and nothing slips up, that's all, because, obviously rugby league's going to be the first sports, to get back. So yeah, hopefully it goes all good.
Well, V'landys got a really good drive on him, right? So I know him for the New South Wales races as well. He's got that kind of guy. He's a go-getter. This is obviously a financially motivated decision.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, the club's losing money. NRL's losing money. But do you think that it's still not? It's something they should maybe put more time into. And it's not in the decision-making process, but more for timing for the games. Because I know a couple of the players, they're not in shape 100%. They're nowhere near it.
No.
I can't see them getting in shape in 4 weeks. As a fan, I want to see them play. But do you reckon they've maybe just rush that just that little bit, just give them another 2 to 4 weeks and maybe extend the season a bit more?
I think so. I think, as you said, 4 weeks I don't think is enough. As much as the players are doing stuff at home, it's never the same as what you're going to be doing at the club. So in that regard, I think the boys will be a little bit underdone. If you want to see quality football, then you give the players a bit more time to get ready, The thing I am looking forward to is the time of year that the season will go. It'll be closer to the back end of the year as well, I think. I'm excited to see a bit of footy on the other side coming up to sort of spring, summer. But as you said, as a fan, you want to see it. But I think it's, as you said, V'landys it's a financial decision. They need to get the game back to save the game. Understand that. At the same time, you want to get the best out of the game. So you want the players to be as fit as possible. So it's a catch-22.
Yeah.
It's a hard one, yeah.
Mate, best thing about this, is the State of Origin in October. We can watch State of Origin in a fucking singlet, which is awesome. All right,
mate. Have a
good day out on the barbecue. It's the best. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But look, you've played under Greenberg, right? What's your take on all the shit that's happened with him? Like, he's copped as a royal silver fucking dildo up the bum, right? He's everyone's just turned on him, fucked him off. Now, where's all this money and everything else? But in my opinion, they haven't taken to effect that. He's created a women's game. He's done so much for the junior development. What rugby league has in place at the lower levels is well beyond all the other sports in New South Wales. I don't know how Queensland is, but in New South Wales, that's how it is. Do you think it's fair what happened to Greenberg? Because it's like V'landys a go-getter and Greenberg's just a straggler. He works hard. He just turns up every day. I thought he does. It was a bit unjust. It was a bit slack. And I know you know him personally. So
I do. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. I've been under Toddy at the Bulldogs and obviously as a player under him at the NRL when he was head of the NRL. And yeah, it surprised me, that's for sure, because Toddy's done so much for the game, as you mentioned. He's built it from grassroots up. He's built the women's game, which is now, which was a massive positive. And he had some real challenging times, Toddy. He always stepped up. He always faced it front on. He never delegated it, or he never sort of put it on the back burn, never hid from it. So knowing Toddy personally as well, that's the type of person he is. He cops it, whatever on the chin, he goes and heads, face on. So I was a bit surprised, but it's and at the same time too, it's not his fault what's happened. It's no one's fault. It's come out of the blue. So based on this. Yeah, I'm not too sure with the decision, but hey, these things happen, don't they?
It seems like Game of Thrones, mate. To be honest, I reckon V'landys
it does at the moment. Yeah. What happened in the union as well, didn't it?
Oh well, they need to do that. Like Raylene's a nice lady, but I just think she was out of her depth in a place where it's so I'm there non-stop. It's just very dysfunctional. Yeah. They need more than just a new CEO. They need to fucking clean the whole place out and start again.
Yeah, okay.
Rugby's really bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
mate, I heard you're a bit of a fight fan.
I am, yeah. I love the fights. Yeah.
Love the UFC or boxing or both?
Yeah, I love the UFC more. I've gotten into boxing the last couple of years, but I was heavy UFC. The missus isn't too happy when she sees the Foxtel subscriptions and there's main event. It adds up. But mate, I wouldn't miss it for the world. It's I love, sitting down, having a few beers, watching the fights, and I really enjoy it. I got a lot of respect for what they do. I always said the ultimate test, like yourself, you got the boxing gym, but the ultimate test would be to, individually to step into the ring and go through what yourself and those guys go through. There wouldn't be another feeling like it. And from afar watching that, just got full respect for those guys. It's it's a crazy sport.
Well, with knee problem, like I've got a really bad. I've got osteoarthritis in my right knee. I've had it since I was 24, so I'm 39 now.
Yep.
I could fight on it, right? So it did trouble me a little bit, but considering you got knee issues and shoulder issues, would you look at having a crack and getting in the ring at least once?
I actually I've spoken about it for a couple of times. Hey, the reason I do it is just to feel the test.
Yeah.
They reckon there's no feeling like it. So, hey, I'd never say, I wouldn't say no, that's for sure. Obviously, I have to do a fair bit of training because, I've never sort of had a fight in the ring or really gotten into my training. I do want to get in the training for the fitness side of things, and then who knows what can come of that can come. But, we'll test myself against something that can't throw back first and then see how I go.
Matt, if you're listening, mate, let's get Trent ready and we'll get a Thai cab driver. First fight. Sweet. All right.
Beautiful. Done.
Sweet.
Sign me up.
Mate, you've been to the UFC in the States, I heard. You went to Ferguson versus Lee. What a fight.
Mate, great fight. We went there in Vegas, went with obviously Menace. We had a couple of doubles that night. They got to us early, the old vodkas.
Doubles, yeah.
Yeah.
He asked if you could remember it. Adam was asking if you could remember that.
I could remember it. He couldn't. He was sideways. Mate, Steve-O was actually sitting a couple of rows in front of us, so Menace has gone and asked for a photo, and we got a photo with him. But, it was a great fight. The Lee Ferguson one. I think Demetrius was fighting. He was defending the title as well on that card, which obviously he dominated. And I went to the Khabib Conor fight too. Over there at the time, which was amazing. Yeah, it was.
I was in Hawaii. I was in Hawaii watching it.
Yeah.
And Max Holloway was with us at the bar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And to see what happened, it was like it was like a fucking movie script at the end. Would have been awesome at the end.
Yeah, it was nuts. I mean, it was a lot of Irish fans there, which were quite. It was very quiet during the fight. Khabib was just so dominant in those rounds. But what happened afterwards? There was so much more. It was full on. We sat in our seats and just watched it and watched everyone sort of just peel out. There was fights going on in the tunnels, in the stands, outside. It was just.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was pretty mind blowing. Yeah, It was. But it was good. It was the whole build up because we went to the weigh-ins the day before, and it was just the whole event itself. It was pretty special to watch live.
Mate, I hate Conor. I reckon he talks too much shit, but but he's so mesmerising. You just got to watch every fucking fight, and lead up, he's better than the fight. Even though he fights so well, that Cerrone fight, he tore him. It was great to watch him. Yeah. But fuck the lead up. How good's the lead up in it?
Mate, he sucks you in. That's what he does. Yeah. He's a showman, isn't he? Like he sucks you in. Yeah, I think the thing at the start was he was putting it out there and things were happening, and then people started to go, this guy's he's saying and he's doing it. First round knockout finish, this and that. So good on him. He's built it up and he's killing it now, and he's got his bloody whiskey business or whatever, and he's got some cash.
Oh, he's doing well now.
Yeah.
Well, do you ever watch the UFC at Oatley Pub?
At Oatley Pub? At
the Oatley Pub. I heard it's your local.
No, I haven't watched the UFC at the Oatley Pub.
No stories? I heard you got some good stories about Oatley Pub.
No, zero stories there, mate.
Nothing at all.
No comment.
We can always edit it out if you want.
Nah. It's all good. Couple of good sessions there, but we'll leave it at that.
Oh, we'll leave it at that. Mate, as Adam told me, I wasn't aware of this. For some reason, I thought you were from Newcastle. I don't know why I thought that.
Yep.
I know you lived there, obviously, when you played, but I just thought you were from Newcastle. He said that you grew up together in Campbelltown.
Yeah. Seatown boy out west, born Campbelltown Hospital, and grew up out there. Went to Robert Townsend Primary, that's in Raby there. And played my junior footy at Eaglevale St Andrews.
Mate, you went to Westfield Sports High. Was that from year 7 onwards?
That was year 7 onwards. So what I did was I went to, obviously, primary school in Campbelltown, and I was going to go to St. Greg's. And then I was pretty much going there. And then last minute, Westfield's offered a scholarship or whatnot. And at the time, I was playing footy in the West Comp, and we'd won a grand final, 40-something to 3, and then my mates were playing in the Parramatta Comp. They won their grand final in under 12s by 1 point or 2 points or something. And I just thought, I weighed it up, and you start playing those rep Sydney Southwest and all that, and I was meeting these guys from the Parramatta Comp, and I weighed it up, and I made the transfer over to Cabramatta. I thought for my footy in the future, the stronger comp would be better for me. So I made the move over to Cabramatta, and then at the same time I went to Westfields, because a lot of those guys in the Parramatta Comp and for Cabramatta were going there as well. So that was the main reason why I went to Westfields.
Well, so many players have come out of Westfields. I don't know who the fuck I spoke to the other day. He's from Westfields. Who was that? Clemmer was from there, that's right.
Yeah, Clem, yeah.
I know Jared Haynes from there, and
Hainesy.
What do they do? What do they do at Westfields that's so fucking different? I know it's a sports school, but I think there's 25 others in the state. How come Westfields are so so they achieve so much? Because their transfer of players they bring into what they produce to NRL and rugby union levels. What is it that's so different?
I'm not too sure. I think the footy program themselves they've got it. I know it would have changed since I was there, but at the time it was pretty switched on, the footy program. It was, as a young fella, it felt very professional. They had some money at the school too, so you had your gyms, you had the best of everything, you had a nice field up the top. So they gave you every opportunity to do well there. Academically wise, I don't think too many of the boys cared about that side as much, but that footy was what you wanted to do, and I think it was just my age at that time. We had Tony Williams as well, and we had a good crew there, and we just had a strong, but we could never jump that last hurdle. And Endeavour was always our bogey team, and they'd always get us. But on paper, we should have won a lot more things, but it wasn't to be. But I think as a whole, the school just had a really good footy program. I think it may have been the first sports school in Australia. I'm not too sure. So, I couldn't really pinpoint it. They just had, a lot of things going for them professionalism wise.
It's just Endeavour. There is, St Patrick's in Blacktown. When I was a young kid, it was JP. So it used to be St Andrews in Blacktown.
Yeah.
These are school Endeavour, whatever it is, Hills District. They're all good schools, but it just seems that last 20 years, 15 years, they just can always consistently. Everyone has 2 or 3 year stints, whereas Westfield's always bring them through. It's always working well. So,
I think too a big thing for that is it's in the Parramatta district, and Parramatta are always known for strong juniors.
Yeah.
Same as your Penrith district as well. You got St Mary's and whatnot, but I think all the Parramatta juniors they go to Westfields, and that's I think how they have a lot of success there as well.
Well, due to Westfields, you played SG Ball and Harold Matts at Parramatta, right?
Yep.
But then you got picked up by Manly, right?
Yes.
In 09? 09?
In 09. 09 was my first year, so what happened was I played Harold Matts and SG Ball at Parramatta, and being a young kid, you always think of, I want to play for Parramatta. I did the juniors up. I want to stay at a one club. And whatnot. But at the time, I was coming out of, I think, SG Ball, and then I went into Jersey Flegg. So I think it was the first year of the 20s. That was our year. And the first trial, I wasn't supposed to play, but there was a couple other halves that were injured at the time. And I played, and we played the Sharks out at Wentworthville. First 10 minutes, I'd done my knee. And ACL done. So that was it for the season. I come back and played 2 games, which was round 26 and a final.
That's good.
Yeah, it was
time for that.
It was, but it was pretty hard doing your knee at 18, and there wasn't too many of my mates around me that had done that, so I was like, oh, well, I'm done. That's my career, because at the time ACLs were pretty, bad. Well, they've always been bad, but I just thought.
Was that your first one? First time you did the ACL?
First time, yeah. So when I was 18, and I wanted to stay at Parramatta, but Parramatta had halves, Tim Smith, Brett Finch, James Maloney. They had a few other guys, so they couldn't offer a top 25 spot. But Manly, manager was talking to Manly, and Noel Cleal and Desi Hasler offered me a top 25 spot, 2-year contract. So I was working at the time too. I was doing apprenticeship, doing the fire sprinklers. So, I wanted to sort of, dream was to play footy and do footy full time. So I jumped at that opportunity to go to Manly and sign top 25 and have footy as a job. So,
mate, Manly's your childhood team, isn't it?
Who I supported?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I just followed Dad's footsteps. He was a big Manly fan, and I just followed the. Mum was the Dragons, Dad was Manly, so I just went Manly for some reason.
I wouldn't have went down well at fucking Campbelltown going for Manly.
No, not at all.
I was a Magpie supporter.
He didn't have too many friends, that's for sure.
That's the footy's fault, eh? It's
the house got egged a few times.
Mate, you made your debut. You had a crack at 209 with obviously with the Queensland Cup. You won player of the year. He's won the grand final, but for the Queensland Cup. You finally get this crack at first grade in 2010. Yes. How does it feel at 21 years old? You finally made it in your head that your dream's been fulfilled. You got your first game. You're out there finally playing your first fucking game of an NRL. How did you feel as a young fella? And how did Des, the master manipulator, the fucking best talker in the world, how did he prep you for that game?
Well, look, the way he told me was he called me in his office. So what happened was round 1, 2010, the boys played the Tigers, I think it was, and Brett Stewart went down injured at the back, so they had to reshuffle. So Benny Farah went from wing to fullback, Jamie Lyon went from 5'8" to centre, Kieran Foran went from half to 5'8", and then half was obviously open. And Matty Orford had moved on obviously at the time. And the opportunity was there. So Desi called me into his office and, Des being Des, he's just gone, smacked me on the ear, like just whacked me on the ear for no reason. I've gone deaf. And he goes, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Can't hear." So I said, "Yeah, I'm ready." And he goes, "Good. Don't tell your parents, don't tell anyone else, but we'll keep it a secret, but you're playing." So I went, "Oh, beautiful, Funnily enough, it was against Parramatta where I played my juniors at Parramatta Stadium, so it was good. But in preparation-wise, Desi, I had that pre-season beforehand, and Desi, he leaves no stone unturned. And him being an ex-halfback, he's pretty hard on his halves as well, which is good. Being a young bloke and learning the ropes, perfect. I wouldn't have wanted to learn under anyone else. So he prepared me well, and I was lucky enough to go out and debut against Para at the stadium, and got over for a try early on, which was nice. And I thought, how easy is this? Then I didn't score one for about 5 years. Yeah. So it was obviously a very surreal moment. Had my family there and my wife now, and it was pretty cool.
So you've obviously wasn't much pressure. I think as a young fella, you must have felt pretty comfortable just playing your game. A couple of games in, you've got a tap on the shoulder to play City. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. I think it was round 7. So I'd played 6 games, and I'm just focusing on playing first grade and doing well for my team. And we played a Sunday afternoon. It might have been against the Rabbitohs or something at ANZ Stadium, and we walked into the sheds and people just started saying congratulations, and I said, "Oh, yeah, it was a good win. Well done, blah, blah, blah." And they go, "No, you made City." And I was like, "Oh, no way." I didn't believe them. Yeah. And then I think Desi or the coaches told me afterwards, and I was just shocked. Like that was pretty cool, to get an opportunity to play for City at such an early stage in my career, and get to go into camp with established players and players from other clubs and learn things. And that was a pretty cool moment.
Who was your coach?
For City, the coach? That's a good question.
Wasn't Freddie, eh? Freddie was 24.
I don't think it was Freddie. He was 13, 14.
After it, yeah.
I'm just trying to think. Yeah, good question. I'm not sure. I can't remember, mate.
Did it help you prepare for what was to come? And we'll talk about New South Wales, but did it kind of get you ready for New South Wales preparation and what kind of mentality you got to have, the training camps and stuff like that? Because you're a young fella, you've never been around this environment before. Did it really prep you for what was to come?
Yeah, it did. And, you're obviously around your club teammates week in, week out, but to see how other people prepare, recover, being a young bloke, you're not thinking about recovery. You're just thinking about playing and having a few drinks and playing or doing whatever, So just to see the professionalism of the older guys from other clubs as well. And just that little step up in quality, it was, I think, at such an early stage in my career, it definitely prepped me for what was to come later on.
Mate, you've had this huge rookie season, right? Probably any other year you would have probably walked away with the rookie of the year. Matt Gillette ended up getting it, but you had I had a look before who was in your rookie year, right? Yep. Sam Burgess, Jason Taumalolo, probably two best players in the last, two best forwards for sure in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Jesse Bromwich, Andrew Fafita, and then obviously Matt Gillette wins this rookie of the year. You've had this crack at season, and then you go to the Dogs. What the fuck was that about? Was it financial, or what was it about?
There's a few factors in there. There was Manly had offered another 2-year contract. At the time, the Dogs offered a 3-year contract, and the figures were a fair different. And at being such a young part in my career, it was a very, very hard decision to make, but also putting in the factor that, I had an injury. This could happen again at any time. So I started thinking about those sort of things and just weighed everything up and made the decision to move on. But, it was a very, very hard decision because I loved it there at Manly and they gave me the opportunity at the same time as well. So
I'm all for it. Players moving on for money. This loyalty bullshit. Mate, I'm a footy fan. I'm a massive Melbourne Storm fan. I was before that was West Magpies, but obviously when they had the comp, went straight to the Storm. You players have to make your money because the clubs don't give a fuck about you. So you made the right decision.
Well, that's right. But as a young bloke, though, I didn't think about that. Like now, being older, 100% loyalty. There's no loyalty in the game anymore. No way. No. But back then, obviously being a young fella, it wasn't just okay. There's more money. I'm going. There was a few different factors, and then I just made the call. I had a chat to my family and just made the call. And then you second guess, was that the right call? Was it not? But it is what it is. It's in the past. But I agree with you now. There's definitely no loyalty left in the game.
Well, you've gone from Manly with all those snobby Northern Beaches people, and you've ended up at Belmore, right?
Yep.
Fucking hell. How different was it going to Belmore? I know you grew up in Campbelltown, but Belmore's a different kettle of fish. And then, was the crowd and the fans, were they receptive to you? Were they happy you were there, or you had a little bit of hype? So, their halves have always been the fucking problem at Bulldogs. Until you and Josh, got together, it's first time in Yonks that you had decent halves there. How was it? How was the experience of you moving from Manly to a completely different environment to somewhere like Belmore with those crazy fucking fans?
It was a little different. Hey, I remember we were looking for a new place to live. I loved it, obviously, at the beach, at beaches at Manly. Went and looked at a few places around Homebush and whatnot, and my wife and I looked at each other and we just went. We later found out that majority of the team live at Cronulla and they just travel. So we obviously moved out to Cronulla, so it made it a little bit easier. But no, the fans were very welcoming. I felt at home straight away. The players there, embraced me just made me feel really welcome straight away. The fans, they're obviously very passionate. So, a couple of wins, you're up there. A couple of losses, they want your head. So it's
they literally want your head, but that's just
literally, that's right. But out of all the clubs, obviously the Bulldogs is where I felt most at home. Spent 5 years there and had a fair bit of success there at the same time. So. The move was a little different, but I enjoyed it once I was settled in.
Well, first year you're at the Dogs. Peter Moore's in charge. Gets sacked with 8-9 games to go. JD takes over. JD's, obviously a good mate of mine. But he, he had a really good run there. I think last
he did.
7 or 8 games, he won 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah.
How was that as a player in that period there? Like, how did you guys feel about coach getting sacked, then JD taking over? And JD's a good bloke, and he's very knowledgeable, and he's always friends with everyone. But then to hear that Desi's taken over at the end of the year, how did that all feel for the players? Because you knew how good Desi was. Was everyone else as excited as you?
Yeah, it was a funny situation because I think we went to New Zealand, and I think, not sure if Peter Moore found out over there and then flew back home, and Jimmy obviously took over there. So it was a bit of a funny situation. But look, when Jimmy took over, we went on a good run. And Jimmy being Jimmy was just play footy, do your thing, this and that. Very knowledgeable. So we had a lot of fun when Jimmy was there, and then got news that Desi was taken over, and just leaving Des from Manly and having the year away from him, and then the opportunity to be under him again was pretty exciting, But and a few of the guys, I try to warn a few of the guys what he was like and what pre-season's going to be like, and how he's a numbers man. But nothing could prepare him for what was in store. And that first week, I think there was a few funny looks on the boys' faces it was that soon went away, but it was good. It was good times. It was obviously a weird time because you have 3 different coaches in that short period. But I enjoyed having Desi back. But at the same time, when Jimmy was there taking over, it was great fun, and I thought he did really well.
Yeah. It's you always talk about as fighters, the bloke that never won the world title. The fighter that never won a world title. It's how Jimmy is, poor bloke. Like, he never had a crack at first grade, proper crack. So hopefully he gets that chance. But, mate, I think being in Gold Coast doesn't really help his chances. He likes it there. He doesn't want to move back here. So
he'd be loving it up there, Jimmy.
It's his lifestyle. Take his shirt off, have the drink, dance around.
Nice and relaxed.
Mate, you've got injured again in 2012 or 13. What did you do to your knee?
2012. Pretty tough year. Round 4. I did my other knee, but I didn't meet my medial, ruptured my medial, grade 3, and went in the back of the sheds, and they tested it, and they said, it's grade 3. But usually when you do your grade 3, your ACL goes with it. So I'm thinking, oh no, it's not the other side now. Had scans later that night, got clear of the ACL, so it was just a ruptured grade 3 medial. So they said 10 weeks, and it should be 8 to 10 weeks. You should be, back. So worked hard. I think it was around the 10-week mark. I went back and played Reggie's because, the boys were on a really good run in 2012 and they were winning games, and understandable, you don't change your team when, you're winning like that. So had to work my way back in and went and played Reggie's, and first game back, I sort of, I think I got pushed in the back after a kick or whatever, and I've landed on the ground like that, and I've tweaked my shoulder, and I've gone, oh, what's going on here? And got that scanned after the game, and the physio said, you'll need surgery at the end of the year, but we'll tape it and you'll get through it. So I'm going, oh, righto, sweet. So I've had knee, shoulder. Following week, they've thrown a long ball against the Tigers at Lightcart, and I've gone to cover, and then he stepped back in. This was right on half time, and I didn't need to do it, and I've tried to bat the ball down like that and dislocated the other shoulder. So they said, righto, let's call it a year. We'll get your shoulders done now. Just have this year's a write-off, and we'll come back next year. So it was a pretty hard year because I was after that, that third injury, the shoulder. I was pretty much going to give the game away and go back and get on the tools, and it's pretty hard down in the dumps. But luckily enough, I stuck with it. I had the surgery 6 weeks apart, so the missus she had her work cut out for me for a while. But it was a pretty shitty time, but it was try to stay as positive as I could, and come out the other end, which was good.
Well, the club, I was about to ask you this question, but it seems the club did the right thing. I was about to ask you, do you reckon they rushed you back, or should they have done better procedures? But it seems like they go, no, let's just play safe, which I hear of very rarely. All right.
Yeah.
But you reckon? So Bulldogs have practiced this, this safety methods. Good on them. Like, well done. Not many clubs that I heard of do that. Do you think that's an issue with being so money orientated now? The clubs are rushing their players back too early. Like you get hurt. If I get hurt, I want to come play. I don't give a fuck if I've got a broken foot.
Yeah.
So it's not up to the player. It's medically if there's something wrong with them or not. Do you reckon the clubs kind of turn a blind eye to rushing people back sometimes?
I think sometimes they definitely do. I guess they're under the pump a few times, as you said. Players like, I don't care, I want to get back, this and that. They could be playing for contracts. They could want to, could be a final and they want to play a final, so they're hammering the club and whatnot. But roles reversed. I think, certain clubs rush guys back just for the sake of it. Take that extra week or take that 2 weeks. He's going to be 20, 30% better. You're going to, rather than maintaining at an 80% if you're rushing back a few weeks early, So, I definitely think there's a few clubs that do that, but at the same time, it's hard as well because the players at the same time they want to get back, and so it's a tough one. It's a hard one, but as you said, it's money orientated, and it's a winning business, isn't it? So teams just want to win, no matter the cost and what's at stake.
Well, mate, win. You did in 2014. You had a great fucking season. So you've come back from injury in 2013. Done very well. 2014, you've just caught the eye completely. Two things that happened. It would have to be your favourite season, 2014?
Oh, for sure, yeah, definitely.
You've gone in and got selected for the Blues.
I have to say that too because I got married at the end of the year, so 14 was the best
100%. Year. That's what I meant.
She heard it.
So, you were selected for the Blues. It was a surprise pick. Mitch and James Maloney were obviously coming off the grand final the year before. Mate, it's the right pick because you guys end up taking home the trophy first time in 8 years, right? Mate, firstly, how'd you feel getting that tap on the shoulder? And number two, how good was the party afterwards? I missed that one.
It was. I'll start with number one. It was pretty good. It was very surreal. I didn't believe it. I think we came back from New Zealand Warriors and went to the airport. And I think there might have been a few rumours or whatnot, but I didn't buy into it. I mean, I'd just come back from injuries in 12, and I'm just trying to get. I think I was coming off contract at that time in 14 as well, so I was just focusing on playing footy and having a good season. And we got back to the airport and we flew in. I think Jimmy might have said something. He said, Blues, eh? And I went, I don't know what you're talking about, mate. And he goes, you just wait, see what happens. So I went, all right, sweet. And anyway, later that night, because that was a Sunday, and then I got the phone call from Laurie. Joshy Reynolds rang me actually an hour before because we said to each other, if you hear anything, let us know. So he rang me about an hour before I got the phone call, and he said, mate, have you heard anything? I said, no. He goes, mate, I got the call. I said, that's awesome. How good? And he goes, but you haven't heard anything? I was like, no, not yet. And he felt bad. He's like, shit. Maybe I should have waited, And then about an hour later or whatever, I got the phone call, and it was pretty cool. Pretty emotional. But it was a good one. It was a good phone call to get. Obviously, Laurie rang me, and it was pretty cool.
Mate, how was it like coming out? You obviously, look, as a kid growing up, you could say playing rugby league. I played league as a kid. I didn't play union. I didn't want to play for Australia. I would love to have won a grand final as a kid growing up. Didn't even get close. I was fucking awful. But, mate, if you could ask me what I wanted to do, it's play Origin. I want to play Origin. That's what I want to do. How did it feel? I presume that's probably the pinnacle of your mentality in your rugby league career as well. You probably would love to play for Australia. Won a grand final. But, how did it feel getting, like, you made the team? You're fucking playing in the best competition in rugby league. Could be all sports, to be honest. It's the best competition to watch in all sports by a mile. How did it feel? Is it like it's a lifelong dream and you fulfilled it?
It was. It was obviously as a kid. It was you watch the Origins and you're like, imagine playing that one day. Imagine playing this. But to be honest with you, coming back after those surgeries, and obviously Piercy and Maloney, they were in the halves at the time, and Pierce had been there. So I felt as though they had their halves set for a long time. So, I didn't even think about it, to be honest with you, Origin. That was the furthest thing away from my mind at the time. And it was just lucky enough. I had a good season, the start of 14, and Bulldogs were going well. We were going really good as a team. Joshy and I were good as a combination, and it just happened, and it was very, very surreal. And now I look back at it, it's crazy to even think I got the opportunity to play it. Not only do that, but to win series first time in. I was lucky enough to be surrounded by some good players, and a lot of players that had been there for a long time, and gone through some hard series for 8 years in a row. So for me to come in and be a part of history, and given that opportunity to play alongside those guys and against the greats of the game in Thurstons, your Cronks, Slaters, Inglis, all those guys. It was awesome, mate. Awesome looking back at it now.
Well, you've scored all 6 points in the second game. It was only 6-4, yeah? Mate, you would have had some fucking haters before you started. Now, how to feel knowing that, you got everyone over the line at the end of the day. Like, I know probably someone else would have done it in your mentality, but it must feel pretty good or reassuring that, mate, because of you won a game and you scored all the points and you brought it back to New South Wales after so long. How did that feel?
Yeah, it was good. We copped some slack early on, which is disappointing because you've got your same critics, the ex-New South Wales players or the commentators now that hammer you, and you look at the Queenslanders and they get behind whoever's chosen in the position. They get behind their team, and you cop some slack, but it is what it is. It's part of the role, especially the halves in New South Wales. I think the best thing for me was the way the camp at the time was in Coffs Harbour. So I remember speaking to, I think it might have been Lukey Lewis or Ryan Hoffman, one of the older guys, and they said, best thing you can do is don't watch any TV, don't pick up any papers, just enjoy camp, enjoy being away from, the big smoke in Sydney, and just take it for what it is. And that was the best advice I'd given. I did not pick up one paper. I did not watch anything. So nothing could get in my head for any doubt or me, doubting myself for being there and whatnot. It copped a bit of slack, but it is what it is. And, really enjoyed it. And winning the series and being lucky enough to score the try and kick the goal, which was one of those easy ones, but it was a funny situation I'll get into soon. But mate, it looks like it's a team effort. It's rugby league's 13 on the field, 100%. 13 on the field. Our forwards crazy. It was a defensive effort that won us the game. It was just lucky enough that at the time a little gap opened up. I had Ryan Hoffman outside me all day, just running lines, and I was just feeding him. And then the one time I didn't, gap opened up, and then I was lucky to get over. You know what I mean? So our forwards got us in that position, and mate, we prided ourselves on our defence that series. In game 1 up at Suncorp, it was very low scoring again, and I think the last 5 minutes of the game, Queensland had about 8 sets on our try line, and we just kept turning up. And that's what won us the game. And it did again in the game 2 as well. It's obviously it was a low scoring game, but we were lucky enough to get over the try line and win. And mate, to take it back to Sydney was pretty cool.
Yeah, it would have been a great, like you don't have to go into the party, but it would have been a great party. Oh, spewing.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was
going to it.
Had in the back of my mind. I think we were playing down Canberra on the Friday, so a few boys had Sunday games or weeks off, so it would have been nice to be one of those blokes. But we had a pretty quick turnaround, so it was an enjoyable night on the Wednesday night, and then had to go back into training on the
Thursday.
On the Thursday, yeah, that's the one.
Mate, you've gone from winning the State of Origin, which is fucking awesome. You played six State of Origins, but you went to the GF that season, and mate, the only team I think in the last, I'm being realistic here, the only team that would have beaten us that season in the last maybe 5, 6, 7 years or 8 years would have been that South side. They were really, them and the 2013 Roosters are two of the best teams I've seen in the last 10 years, right? They were animals, just massive pack. So, and it took years for clubs to learn how to deal with those Burgess brothers and Ben Teo, and it took them years. Like, how was it? Like, all right, you go on the grand final, you obviously want to win, but how was it going into it? But what did you take coming out of it, losing? Like, what did you get out of it?
Yeah, look, just definitely learn that you have to be, on the ball for the entire 80 minutes, because for 60 minutes, I think it was 2 points in it or 4 points in it, and then they just found another level, and we didn't. We're also, missing one of our most influential players was Mickey Ennis. He got injured in the semi-final, and there was no excuses. There was a few guys busted and bruised at the time, but you know what? They were just hard to handle. They had the Burgess boys, and they had Inglis was on fire, was in his prime. Yeah. Adam Reynolds, his kicking game was killing it. They were just ticking all the boxes, and we had some good tussles with them early in that year. I think it was the Easter Friday game. May have won, and then they got one back on us. So it was neck and neck. But it was a disappointing way to finish the season, definitely, because I felt as a team we deserved more. But at the same time, South, they were just on fire, and it was kind of, you had that feeling that they were never going to sort of lose that game.
Yeah, mate, they're a superstar team at that point. And like I said, it took years for people to learn how to deal with those Burgess brothers, especially. Yeah. Because they're so like, you got a big pack, right? Back then, you had Aidan Tolman and
James Graham.
James Graham. I was going to say Graham. Even Eastwood and Clemmer. You had a massive pack, but they were nothing compared to that South guys. Like, they look like bodybuilders, man.
They're monsters. Yeah. They look big on TV, and then you get next to them, mate. They're another level. You're just crazy. And then they got two of them, twins, and then they got Sam. And then, they had the likes of Benny Teo as well. And, they had a fair pack that year for sure.
Well, mate, you had obviously best season. Yeah, you played 2015. You played Origin again. And halfway through the season, you're off to the Knights. I asked you this about the move to Bulldogs. What is it? Yeah. A financial, or was it a lifestyle? Because I've talked to a couple of players, and they've said they took the Newcastle shift just for the lifestyle reason. What was the main factor for this, for you to go there, and what kind of pressure did you get as soon as you got there? Because you're the marquee player. Was it a bit hard to transfer there?
It was difficult. At the time, because as you said, it was marquee signing, and the team was down the bottom of the ladder and had a fair bit of pressure. But I enjoyed that. I knew what I was getting into at the time, so that didn't bother me, to be honest. But the fact that obviously leaving the Bulldogs, it was at the time, I was coming off contract, and there was myself and Moses and Joshy Reynolds at the time, and three can't go into two. So, Bulldogs had to make a call, and that was obviously with Josh and Moses, and I had to then move on. And lucky enough, Newcastle were keen at the time as well. I had a couple of other clubs, and so it's definitely not a financial. I wanted to stay at the Bulldogs. I loved it there. It was a home for me. I was just lucky that Newcastle was an option as well. You keep options open, it was a nice deal, 3 years. But it was funny because I think it was the third Origin, and that was the decider in 15, and it was the next day. So we obviously stayed at the hotel with the team Wednesday. It was the next day, and I got a call from Desi, and he said, "Mate, can you call past on the way back to Cronulla from Homebush?" I was travelling. Yeah. I was like, it's a bit weird, Yeah, I just had a bad feeling about it, and he just brought me in the office, and he said, "Mate, I'm sorry, but the contract's no longer there. It was ready to be signed."
Yeah.
And then he said, "Look, this is the situation. And I said, mate, thanks for being honest. It is what it is. It's a business. You know, no hard feelings. Thanks for being honest with me. And then just going from such a high being Origin and then next day going on this low was a little difficult. But hey, that's rugby league. It is what it is. And then, as I said, you know, I was lucky enough that I had a couple of options as well, just in case, you know, something like this did happen, and made the move to Newcastle.
Well, Newcastle, you had a pretty tumultuous time. You've been there you were there for 3 years, 3 seasons. Oh, 2 or 3? 2 seasons.
I was there. I was signed for 3, and I was there for 2.
Mate, how hard was it being? You've gone from a team that is stacked, and the word stacked is an understatement. To go into a team that, and you know, your Manly team would have been stacked as well. All right, that era then, great fucking team actually. And then you've gone to poor old fucking Newcastle, and a coach like you've gone from Desi basically most of your career to Nathan Brown. And no disrespect to the bloke, I don't know him personally. I've spoken to him once or twice, but people don't give him too huge a rap, or ex-players don't. Did you find it difficult going from the genius of Des Hasler to, you know, the issues that surrounded Nathan Brown, and also the club? Like, is the club toxic? I think I've read that you said the club was toxic, or the environment was toxic. But is the club toxic? Is there problems in the club? Because they just can't find nothing, man. They're awful. Last 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It was just my experience there at the time. There was just a lot of, I just wanted honesty, and there was a lot of things getting leaked out to the media, and there was things that, you know, a lot of talk getting around, and that's why I said it was toxic, because that's just how I felt at the time, you know, and a lot of other players felt the same way. But Newcastle as a club, I enjoyed it. I think that it's a great club. It's you know, they've had it tough in recent years, and they're slowly on the build now. But I think every club goes through it. They just go through a few years where they're the rebuilding phase. You know, and I think previous years to when I was there was a few issues with the cap, which then obviously stuffs you around for the next few seasons. And you know, it's slowly being built back now. But yeah, look, it was difficult. I enjoyed my time there. Don't get me wrong, but you know, I met a lot of new friends there, and we had on field was a bit tough. You know, you want to win games, and there's losses, and you know, that's not great. You don't want to be losing every week. But at the same time, we had a very young squad, a squad that I said before was rebuilding, and it was going to take time. It was what it was, and but as I said, I enjoyed it, and then things, you know, I got a little bit funny up there. I said toxic before, and a little bit of dishonesty. And as I said, when I spoke to Des before, he was straight up with me. You know, I'm a big boy. You accept it. You cop it on the chin. You move on. Happy days. You know, none of the beating around the bush shit, which slowly happened. And it was just a weird situation.
It's you as being a marquee player, like you said right at the start. You know, you're a halfback number 1, but you're number 2, the marquee player. If there's no results, you obviously get your head put on the chopping block.
Definitely.
And did that pressure kind of at the end just say you just said fuck it and you wanted to move on to you went to Cronulla or from there to Manly? But is that reason why you probably put your foot down and just say, oh, fuck it, releases? Or did they release you?
No,
or did you ask for a release?
They released me, so I wanted to stay. I'm the type of bloke that wants to see out my contract regardless of, you know, how we're going as a club. So, you know, I got put back into reserve grade, and apparently I had to work on my confidence, and which I thought was a bit bizarre. And then I heard nothing for 10 weeks, and then, you know, obviously they signed Piercy, and then things just, you know, writing was on the wall, and then I just sort of had to get out of there really, and got a release and then moved on.
You played 2018, you started at the Sharks, then went over to Manly, so you basically finished off your career at Manly, the place where you started.
Yeah.
How did you know your body, could you feel your body was starting to catch up with you? Because, you know, you retired last year, but you kind of know when your knees going, when your elbows have had enough, you know. it takes you 2 days to ice them instead of fucking overnight. Or, did you start really feeling your body crumble at the end?
Yeah, slowly. I mean, mentally I was still. I always said as soon as I sort of start to doubt myself, I'm not going to try and pretend.
Yeah.
So mentally, I felt very good. I think most of my career always was, always related back to the knee. So when I was 18, I was ongoing. Your wear and tear, and obviously year by year, it's gonna finally catch up to you. But I still felt fine. The main thing for me was my range. It was sort of, when you run, you lose your range. It was stiffening up a little bit. But to be quite honest with you, I hadn't had an ACL in my knee for years, probably playing Origin as well, but just people didn't know that. But, it was, I still felt fine. As I said, you definitely still feel it and you adapt, but mentally I was still fine. I still thought I could do a job. And then it was funny enough, what finished me was the other knee. I had a meniscus tear, and then that just never recovered. You're supposed to have a 4-week recovery, and then that just never got better and better. I guess maybe that did take its toll protecting the other one over the years, but it wasn't the bad knee that finished me. It was the good one. So it was weird how it all finished, but I'm happy. I'm content with my career and what's happened, and I've had a good stint considering 10 years in the NRL and the injuries I've had. I'm happy. I got to play, Origin grand finals. Didn't win one, but I got to experience it. So, all in all, pretty happy.
But how did you deal with post football? Like you decided to retire. How did you take that mentally? Were you cool when it happened? Like you just go, is that what you said? Like what you just said now? Is that what you said back then to yourself? You're happy with what you've done? Or did you go for a bit of dark time trying to make that decision?
No, well, it was an easy decision because I was forced to do so. So I had to medically retire because of, the better knee was just not happening. So that made my decision easier. Whereas on the other scale, making the decision yourself would be harder, I guess, for players when they do that. So it was sort of decision was made for me, and then that's what I was saying. I was content and happy with what I've been able to achieve, considering. And don't get me wrong, once you'd go to the grand final parade and footy's over, you feel those little dark times because what have I got to do now? And I think it's just more trying to. What's the word? You're trying expectations of what you're going to do after footy.
Yeah.
And they're up there, and then you're sort of not getting there, and you're slowly and I mean, I'm happy now. You just a couple of months afterwards, you get a little bit frustrated, but it's all good.
How's the assistance been from NRL, from your old clubs, from your manager? Like, have you had much assistance, or is it just done dusted? See you later.
No, it's been pretty good. Yeah, obviously it's been pretty good. The RLPA, sort of some old boys, Andrew Ryan, Dean Hullatow, that's their role within the NRL, to help the players, retiring players, and transition into everyday life, really. So there's been some good support there, as well as, my manager was trying to sort some things out after footy and help out that way. But there's been some good support.
Do you think that they should be doing more? I spoke with Rennie a while ago. A couple of the older boys, obviously it's improved a little bit, but do you think that the NRL and the managers as well, do you think they should have more onus on them to do more for you guys after football, like life after footy? Because you've been institutionalized basically since you're a kid, and then you've just gone, all right, my knee's fucked, I can't do anything. What do I do now? So do you think there should be something put in place where it's mandatory that if you're a manager, you've got to look after them this way, or if your NRL has to look after players this way? What do you reckon? What's your opinion on that?
I definitely think there's a room for that in the game. I just said there should be a mandatory thing that that the NRL should do, managers should do. I think there's even there's a lot more money in the States in the NFL, but I think even health insurance, they're covered for the rest of their life, ex-players and stuff. Whereas here, I know it's different. There's a lot of just little things like that. Whether it's 2 years or you do get covered for the first year up to $2,500 from the RLPA for the first year. Then after that, it's gone. It takes time to sort of to transition into the world. Just little things like that. I think there's definitely room for improvement that the game and managers can do. Yeah.
Social welfare aspect as well. Like, do they check up on you after, like, the RLPA, NRL? Have they checked up on you to say, how you been, mate? How you handling this? I know the RLPA has, but what about the NRL? Have they looked after you and at least seen if you're okay and if there's any help needed?
Good question. I don't think there's been a whole lot. I know, as I said before, there's been obviously ex-players, Andrew Ryan, guys like that have reached out. I'm not sure if that's their role for the NRL or that's their role for the RLPA, but I think it is the NRL that those guys work for. So there's been some good guys reaching out there and helping me out when I can, asking questions, there for whenever I need a chat. So yeah, it's good. And it's what you should expect from as you said before, NRL to do.
Yeah, well, you're a former star, so I understand the player's been struggling to stay in first grade, played 50, 100 games. It's always been a struggle, but for yourself, being a marquee player, played Origin, blah, blah, and then all of a sudden, it's not just you're retired because you had a great career. You're retired out of injury. It's medically forced. So mentally, you've obviously done well. You're a different mental kettle of fish. Everyone else struggles. You've done well. Because I know a lot of people that had to retire because of injury, and they end up fucking loonies, mate. Completely fucking.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's good, but I was just a bit more curious about how it's changed, because I know 4, 5, 6 years ago it wasn't the case, or 10 years ago it wasn't the case. It's good that they're finally starting to maybe look after the welfare of the players. Yeah,
it's a major issue. They're going in the right direction anyway, so it's a positive. As you said, 5, 10 years ago there was hardly anything, as you hear ex-players talk about, but they are going in the right direction. I feel as though, so it's a positive.
Awesome. All right, mate. We're at the end of the show. We've got the 1 minute wonder. All right. So I ask you a shitload of questions, and you answer it with the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay.
Righto.
The best player you've played alongside?
Jesus. Hayne.
Oh yeah, I've heard that answer before. The best player you've played against?
Let's go Thurston.
That's a good one. Toughest player you've played with or against?
James Graham.
James Graham. The grubbiest, so dirtiest player you've played against?
Can I have a teammate? Because I've had two. Mickey Ennis, Josh Reynolds.
100%.
Absolute grubs. I was glad I was on their side, that's for sure.
One regret about your career?
Probably not winning a premiership. I reckon that'd be the ultimate. Winning an Origin series was great, but winning a premiership would be the ultimate, I reckon.
Yeah. The best player in the game today?
Yeah, that's a good one. So many. Yeah, I couldn't say. I couldn't pinpoint one at the moment off the top of my head.
No.
I've
got an easier question. The most overrated player in the game today?
The most overrated player in the game today. He just retired me.
Who's the next champs of the NRL? Who will win this year's comp?
I'm going to say Raiders.
Raiders, yeah, good team. Fucking good team.
Yeah.
All right, some fight questions. Who wins?
Righto.
Tim Zoo or Jeff Horn?
Zoo.
No one has picked Horn. I can't believe that. And now that's scary because I think Zoo as well, but I've seen Jeff win some unwinnable. I was there for the Manny Pacquiao fight up front, right front row.
Yeah.
I heard him I heard the referee say he's going to call the fight, and he goes, "No, I can win this." And my
Yeah,
missus
that's
was crying.
amazing.
But so I'm getting a little bit worried now because everyone's picking Zoo. Everyone's picked Zoo.
Yeah.
20 people straight now. 21 people. So
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried. All right, who wins when this fight finally happens? Khabib or Ferguson?
I'm going to say Ferguson can get him.
Why?
I think that, the guys that Khabib's just been so dominant. He gets on the ground, and he's fought some good guys that have had good ground game as well. But I think Ferguson is on another level. I think off his back as well. Yeah. He's very unorthodox. I think off his back he can do a lot of damage. He's very active on his back as well. He's got those elbows. His cardio is ridiculous. So, he won't tire. I just think he's the closest to measure what Khabib is. So I reckon he can get him.
I think Khabib, but I think Ferguson is the one guy that can really test him in his division.
Yeah,
100%. All right, Tyson Fury or AJ?
Fury.
Yeah, 100%.
I've had this question before from a mate. Yeah, I reckon Fury's got it. Yeah, and my mate's
100%.
Bloody, Joshua. So no chance, mate. Fury's got him.
How good is he? He's not just a great boxer, he's a showman. He's the best.
Oh, mate, he's a gun.
All right, last question, the most important. You're in a street fight. All right? There's two blokes there. Who wins the street fight? Striker or takedown?
Automatically, I'm going to say striker, but a takedown.
Oh, you're off here. Well, why automatically one then takedown? It doesn't make sense. Tell me.
Unless he gets a first shot on his chin and the other guy's out cold. I mean, it's all
point,
over, isn't it?
That's the whole point.
Yeah, I know. Striker, I don't know.
Nah, fuck
striker.
That. You take a takedown. You're hanging out with JD too much. That's Jimmy fucking.
I know. He's wearing off on me.
Mate, Trent, thanks so much, buddy. I've taken up a lot of your time. It's fucking over an hour. Mate, I wish you all the best for what's coming up in the future. Mate, come down to the gym. I'll get you a fight, Matt Rose, all right? We'll be sweet. Thai cab drivers, they're real good, mate. They're all good. You'll win the first round knockout.
Look after me. Someone with one arm will be nice.
Right,
thanks for having me, mate. I appreciate it.
Legend,
awesome.
Brother. I wish you all the best. Have fun with the little one. Hope he doesn't shit
too
much. Eh? All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Righto. Cheers, brother.
See you, mate. All the best, bro.
See you, mate. Bye-bye. Bye.